Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to the Sunday live stream. Today is Sunday, August 3rd. How are you? How are you doing? And we've already got some people in the chat. Good morning. So happy to have you here. We have such a fun day ahead of us, you guys. You have no idea. By the way, if you're new here, welcome. This little channel has grown by over 100 subscribers in the last week or so, and that's a lot for us. So if you're new here, welcome. We're so happy to have you. Today, we are continuing working on, let's go here. We are continuing to work on our resume webpage, and I'm telling you, I have so many fun things planned for today. We got a lot done yesterday, and what we're going to do today is print media query. So what we're going to do today is a print media query. We are always, excuse me, Angela, focus. Let me start over. Here's what we're going to do today because I have notes. I got up early and prepared. We're going to do a print media query. And I had a little conversation this morning with ChatGPT just to make sure that I wasn't forgetting anything. And ChatGPT did point out a couple of things for me to keep in mind. So that was really good. We're going to write JavaScript first, though. And it's not very much at all. And I did learn something new related to how I have been loading and initializing JavaScript for the last decade. Some modern best practices that maybe I'm the only one who didn't know about. So, and Rahul is here as well. Good morning, Rahul. So happy to see you. Yes, I'm starting on time today. Maybe people aren't used to that. Do me a favor, if you haven't liked the video yet, please go ahead and do so. I would love to be able to push out more content like this to new front-end developers who are interested in learning vanilla HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So I think we should just go ahead and get started. Let's see here. We're going to write our JavaScript first today, because we really need that print dialog in order to do our print styles. So I'm going to add a script.js, and then in our HTML, right after the CSS, we're going to add a script tag with the attribute defer, and then our source is our script file. So here's what I learned today, which I did not know. That so I know what defer means. Defer means delay loading until the DOM has loaded. Now, back in the day, I was always taught to put the script tag immediately before the closing body tag. And in the last year, I learned that it was actually perfectly fine and a modern best practice to put it in the head using the defer attribute, that essentially the defer attribute and loading the script tag before the closing body tag are nearly identical. The difference is that when it's in the head, it can at least begin to download the script.js file, but it doesn't execute it until the DOM has loaded. So then I asked ChatGPT this question. I said, well, if it doesn't execute till after the DOM has loaded, then why do we need document add event listener DOM content loaded, which I've been writing for years. And when I tell you that this is burned into my brain that we need to do this, it is because I started learning development 12 years ago, and I started my career as a WordPress developer. And I learned jQuery years before I ever learned vanilla JavaScript. And in WordPress jQuery world, you always had to initialize your jQuery in something called safe mode. And I'm not going to bore you with all of those details, but it just burned it into my brain that regardless of where you're loading that script in your HTML, you need something to initialize your functions or your JavaScript. And it turns out you don't have to do this anymore. It's redundant. It's not wrong. It is redundant. You don't need to do it. So what I am going to do though, at the very top here, is I'm just going to console log. So let me know in the chat. Script has loaded. What do you do? Tell me what you do. I want to know. Do you still do DOM content loaded, or do you just jump right in? I'm curious. And good morning. Welcome. We're so happy to have you. I'm glad you are here. Do me a favor. Would you please like the video? And if you're not subscribed yet to the channel, go ahead and subscribe. We would love to have you. Okay, so I guess the most obvious way to check and make sure this is working is that we will have a console log. Script has loaded. Beautiful. So before I do anything though, I did make a mistake yesterday. Our print button should not be an anchor link. It should be a button. Anchor elements, anchor tags are for links and navigation, and buttons are for actions. So we're gonna switch this up. And Rahul is saying he uses DOM content loaded. So I have to admit, it's going to be, I think on a small project like what we're doing here this weekend, I can resist the temptation to add DOM content loaded. On bigger projects, it's going to be tough for me to leave that out. That's going to be tough for me because it is just after more than a decade, it is burned into my brain that I need that. So, but we're going to do it today because this is a playground. This is a sandbox. So, okay, so we're going to add an ID, and I'm just going to call this the print resume. Actually, I'm going to give this a class. Doesn't need to be an ID. And we'll go ahead and give this an ARIA label that just says print resume. Just like that. So we're obviously going to have to do some styling here, but we'll do that later. Right now, what I really care about is that I have a button, a proper button. So, oh, thank you so much. You already hit like. I appreciate that. Monique, good morning. One of our mods, keeping everything safe and friendly. Although I think everybody here is already keeping things safe and friendly because this is a good crowd. This is a good crowd. So, okay. So we have our button now in a proper button element. The other thing that I want to do is just add a little dynamic date. So we'll go ahead and do that first. And we have, let's find it. I already put where are you? Here. I put a span with an ID of date. So we'll just say date equals document, get element by ID, date, and then we're going to get the year, which is a new date, and the method is get full year. And then we'll say if date, whoops, if date. So I recommend that you always check to make sure that your element's on the page. If date, then, if date text content equals year. And that will pop that little date right in there dynamically. Boom. We love that. We love it. Okay. And then the only other thing that we're going to do is we're just going to make it so our button triggers a print dialog. And you don't technically need a button to do this. Like you could just right click print and you get the print dialog. But we're going to make a button that does the same thing. So we'll do const print equals document, whoops, document query selector print resume. And again, I always check to make sure that the element is on the page just in case. And then it's going to be print add event listener, and it will be a click event. And it's just window print. And so now we can click our button. It's magic. Look at that. And so the reason I wanted to do this first is because we are also going to use a print media query that changes these styles specific to printing. And of course, when you have a print dialog, you can either print or you can save it as a PDF. And obviously you could, I save my practice. I mean, I words, Angela, I save as PDF all the time, and then I almost always print later, but sometimes I print directly from a web page, like regularly. So, yeah. And then the other thing that we need to remember is that users have the option to save or print in black and white or color. So these styles are going to be very basic, very print friendly, but we don't need to make everything black and white. Like we can use CSS to make the images black and white, but we're not required to do that. We can let the user decide for themselves if they want to do that. They've got the option to. So, that's it. This is the JavaScript. It's so simple, delightful. It's delightfully simple. So let's go ahead now and make sure that our button is styled. Where are you? Let's make sure our button is styled. And then we're going to jump into the print styles, and then we'll do some, I think responsive / print styles are going to sort of blend. So we'll do kind of all that together, and then we will test on mobile as well. So here's our button, which doesn't need a whole lot. I'm going to put it up here. And that is just print resume. So we'll say border, none, background, transparent. Well, do we want, yes, transparent. Yeah. Might be all we need. That's all we need to do. That is all we need to do. I'm going to zoom out a little bit here as well. So here's the actual page size. I feel like there's, we also need a cursor there. I feel like there's some extra space here. Yeah, because the buttons have padding. So I'm going to say padding 0 and cursor pointer. There we go. That all looks even and normal now. I was thinking that I would give it a little more gap. I was going to give, You know, I think I will put this down at the bottom because it's kind of a special style. And let's give this 2 rems of gap. Yeah, I like that better. Okay. So what is the first thing we need to do when we click our button? I think the first thing we need to do is we don't have any padding here, and we need to reverse these. We need to sort of invert our colors. So I think we definitely need padding on the body. So I'm going to say 0 padding on the top and bottom, but I'm going to put 2 rems of padding on the left and right. And then we'll say at media print body, and we're changing the background color and the text color. And I'm not going to use a variable. I'm going to use black and white. It's part of the CSS spec, so that's what we're going to use. Just like that. All right, so let's see if this actually works. Whoa. I mean, this is wild, right? How powerful this is. I think this is so cool. I'm loving this. Okay. It's just, I don't know. How do you not love front-end development? I just love it so much. So, yes. Thank you, Ratik. Agreed. Smiley. I'm feeling smiley. Okay, so ChatGPT gave me some suggestions. Yeah, the other thing that we need to do is we are using a Google font called Outfit. And this Google, the font printing and saving as part of the PDF depend entirely on the fonts that are installed on that user's computer. So it's not like a website where the fonts load in order to render the page. This is something entirely different. And I think we should all safely assume that nobody that prints this document is going to have the Google font Outfit installed on their computer. So we're going to change the font stack. Let's close this. We're going to change the font stack for our print styles. So font family, and I'm going to choose Arial Helvetica Sans Serif. So now you can tell that this is a different set of fonts. So already we're batting 1,000 here. The other thing that we want to do is we want to hide non-essential things. So I would say that non-essential things are the footer for sure. And then what are the other? We don't have any background graphics. People can control the scale. People can control their own margins. Oh, that's interesting. So margin default. Yeah, see, I usually have margins none. So let's take the padding. Well, we still need padding on the body. I don't usually do 2 rems though. So maybe we don't need that much padding if people can control their own margins. But if they have none, we still want to make sure that we're providing some margin. So there's that. Paper size, color, headers and footers. So that's the date and time. And I'm going to say that that's the title, the HTML title. So the user can control that. So if we change our body styles. Well, let's say that we definitely want at least one rem of padding for mobile. You should have a rem of, you should still have some padding anyways. But we just go ahead and change this for print. 0, 1. I'm just curious to see how this looks. So that is with default margin. That is with no default margin. Yeah, I think I'm just going to leave it at 1 and let the user decide. Yep. All right, so I'm going to say that we don't even need this here because I'm setting it on the main body tag. All right, so next we're going to go ahead and just hide the footer. We're just going to say display none. And it is a best practice to hide your navigation, your footer, anything that is really interactive. And in this case, we want to give people a really clean printout, right? So let's take the headers and footers off. Yeah, it's looking more and more like a resume. We're going to adjust some of the text sizes as well. And then this was another suggestion that ChatGPT had, is that on all sections we do page, break, inside, avoid, to avoid any weird breaking, which technically it's doing its job. We're going to tighten up some of this typography and the layout, so hopefully we can get everything in there. But that's a good, I mean, I think that's a good call. So, all right. So what else do we want to adjust here? Let's just glance. So I think we were probably going to want to adjust this because our font size is pretty big. Let's, this here, that's a base style. And we'll put this up here. And not worried about the margin. Well, we'll take that down a bit. That looks a lot better. We'll take this down as well. That was this. And we're going to tighten up some of that margin also. Oh, it's probably going to, so it's probably going to avoid, if we use it on every single section as a base element, well, we have a lot of margin here. So let's just work on, let's just keep chipping away at it. Let's just keep chipping away at it. Okay. So I think maybe our primary heading could probably make this a little smaller. Maybe take this down to 1.5. And then our grid container has a lot of margin. Let's take this down to like 2.5. Let's just take this down to 1 and see what happens. Yeah, I can tell that that's a little tighter. I think we have a lot of margin that we need to tighten up. So these are the images, the container. Where's the items? Right here. I think we need to tighten this up as well. Can you imagine doing this for an entire enterprise level website? Wow. I've never used the print media query. This is the first time I've ever used it. So, yep, I can tell that's a lot tighter. Let's tighten up the margin under those H3s, the tertiary headings, right here. Which did we even, I don't think we even specified a margin. Yeah, we're using the default margins. We'll just do 1 rem on the top and bottom. I'm not going to change any of this. I think we could make this a little smaller. We'll take out the letter spacing and we'll bring down this font size a little. Yeah, that looks a little better. And I think we can bring down this font size also, the H2, the secondary heading. We don't need all of this though. We don't need that. Here's our secondary heading. Not going to change that. I still want this to be a little bit bigger. And well, why do we even, no, we'll keep the margin. No, we don't need margin. Well, if we don't need margin, then let's take it off. There we go. That looks really nice. The problem with this is that so I think maybe we don't want to avoid breaking those sections. Yeah, but let's continue to tighten up this header. And I think it'll be okay. And I think what I'll do is just put a note in here for anybody who decides to use this. Optional to avoid breaking sections. But I'm not going to use it here, but I'm going to leave it in for somebody who wants to. Yeah. Okay, let's tighten up this header. Do we even need padding at all? I don't think so. Yeah, we'll leave in 1 rem of padding for the print styles. So if somebody has none, there is still something there. And then I think our intro text, what didn't we have? What was that? There we go. We'll just do 1 here. Because those values look completely different in print, don't they? That looks nice. That looks really nice. And I think it's okay that it breaks to another page. I don't think we need to worry about avoiding that break. We can tighten up this gap here as well. Yeah. I wonder if we want a tiny bit more margin between these sections. Tiny bit more. Maybe 1.5. Yeah, just a little smudge more. Looks good. And I don't think we need to change this layout at all for print. Like, I was thinking that I was going to have to make it be more in line with responsive styles where you drop everything in 1 row and you don't have a grid. And I think as a document that you're printing, this is perfect. This still looks really nice if you come across this web page and you are printing somebody's resume. I think this looks great. Let's tighten up some of the space under this H1. Which I already have. Hang on, we already have our primary heading in here. Okay. Oh, I bet that it's the line height, isn't it? That's causing all that space. The line height. We'll just do line height 1 and we'll reduce the margin. Yeah, that looks a lot better. And I don't think that text needs to be as small anymore. I think our text can still be big. There. I love it. I love it. So we still get the impact of that big, bold headline. I don't think I'm going to change really anything else text-wise. Let's tighten up this gap here for the selected projects, though. And that would be the grid images. Yeah, there we go. And then let's tighten up our contact section here. Wow, this turned out really well. I like it. So right now, because all of our H3s here have this date on top, and this doesn't have it, so I am going to add a class here that just says, or we could do tertiary heading has contact email, then we don't have to add a class. So I think we can do MDN. We could use a pseudo class has. That is a better way to do it. Yes, right here. We're going to do this. So we're going to look for a sibling element. So this H3 is going to look for contact email. So let's go here. We'll go tertiary heading. Tertiary heading has, and we're going to say plus contact email. So basically, if the tertiary heading has a sibling of contact email, we are going to say margin 001 rem. So we're basically just going to take the margin off the top. Actually, we should just do that for all of the styles, not just the print styles. Yeah, see that there? That's what we're going to do. We're going to do this for all of the styles, not just the print styles. We're going to put that right there. So this will go back to being 2. I don't think we adjusted the margin. Well, we didn't adjust the margin at all. It's the user agent style sheet. So there we go. And that kind of tightened that up too, which I think looks a little better. Yeah, it did, because it's rems, not ems. And this pushes this up. It has a lot of line height though, doesn't it? Let's adjust the line height also. So that's 1. That might be that. I think that's going to be too much. And this is pretty normal. I set 1.65 on the body, but I generally end up adjusting the line height for, and hopefully you can see that, for headings. So we can see there that that is a lot more aligned. So we're going to change the line height to 1.25. Nice. And then the last thing I'm going to do is we can remove the, well, we can change the size for sure, but we can remove this color. It's not necessary. Do we even need the word contact? Let's see here. Oh, business inquiries. So yeah, it's just semantics. So we'll just say business inquiries. Business. Business inquiries. There we go. And then we're really just going to change the color and the size, which is right here. So we'll go back to one rem. And we'll change the color here. Color black. Wow, what do we think? This is it. These are our print styles. These are our print styles. Okay, so let's go ahead and save this as a PDF. And then look at the PDF and make sure that it works. Projects and resume page. All right. Here it is. I love it. And you could do anything you want with this, right? You could add colors, you could do anything you want with this. And especially the whole color part is nice because the users have the choice in the print dialog. Even at this point, if they save it in color, if they open the print dialog and print, they can still change it to black and white if they want to. And in this case, it really only changes the images. So now let's go ahead and actually print it. Oh boy. And then we'll finish our responsive styles. And I have a couple ideas for like just little user enhancement touches. Let me see. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and print. Okay, hang on. I'll be right back. I'll be right back. Okay, so mine only printed, oh, and it's backwards. Sorry about that. My camera's flipped. So mine printed in black and white. Did we not have, oh, I did have it in black and white. Okay, stand by. I'm gonna reprint in color. Hang on, I'll be back. we have color. Yay. Woohoo! This is so cool. Okay. Nice. Wow, this is we're 45 minutes in and we're kind of killing it so far this morning. Okay. So we are done with our print styles, which means we just need to do some good old-fashioned media queries to make sure that this is responsive. And I have a couple, well, let's do our little, like 2 little user enhancement things that I wanted to do for the desktop version of this, which is I wanted to do like a kind of a subtle zoom on hover. And I wanted these H2s to be sticky. So let's do that. Let's do that first. Just gonna zoom in a little tiny bit here. All right. So our container is grid container, which I think will need to be position relative. And then our secondary headings will be position sticky. I think that's all we need to do. If I'm wrong, hang on, MDN, position sticky. I know there's something else I need to do. Okay, that's old. Just give me the sticky. Oh, I think it needs to have note at least one inset property. Okay, so we'll just say top left, because technically that's what it is. Why aren't you sticky? Oh, is it not sticky because it's grid? Is that why? That might be why. Needs to be set to a non-auto value for the axis on which the element needs to be made sticky. If both inset properties for an axis are set to auto on that axis, the sticky value will behave as relative. Hang on. Top 0, Angela. Stop. Look at. There we go. So now we have our, and then of course those scroll out of view as soon as the parent container scrolls out of view. So that's kind of cool, right? Top 0. So I think in this case, we would maybe want to give our sections a little bit of margin on the top. So it's not right up against, or it might actually need padding. Yeah, it needs padding. No, that doesn't matter. Maybe the element itself does need to have margin. You need to have padding? Tell me what you need. There you go. Thank you. Just tell me what you need. Just tell me what you need. Okay. So that means then if that needs padding to have a little cushion up there at the top, that means that the grid items will also need a little bit of padding. That is completely fine. We can do that. We can do that. I just need to know, help me help you. Help me help you. So we'll do one rem on the top. And we're going to have to make sure that we account for this in our print styles. That's completely fine. And we're going to do one rem on the top here. And that's just so we can match them up. Okay, so that is a miscalculation because now we have two sets of padding. We probably want this, the grid items. Yeah, the grid items to have the padding, not the grid container. You still don't look right. There we go. There we go. And we need it on the grid images as well, because that's the container for the images. There we go. Now that's aligned. So here we are zoomed out to like the normal size, and I'm on a big monitor. But yeah, that is just a nice little user enhancement. It doesn't impact accessibility. It doesn't rely on any sort of user interaction. We've got all this space here on the left. Let's use it. Let's use it, right? So let's make sure that we are accounting for that, that padding. Down here. So I think we just want padding to be 0, and then grid items. Padding also should be 0. And then our secondary heading padding should be 0. Looks good. Let's confirm. Our styles are still okay. Oops, what happened? Yeah, okay, we just need to change the positioning for our print styles. That's why we check. So I think all we need to do is on the secondary heading, position static. That's all we need to do. Pull it right back out. There we go. There we go. All right. And then let's do just a nice little zoom on our images on hover. Again, has no impact on the user experience. It's just a user experience enhancement. Doesn't do anything on mobile because on mobile we tap, we don't hover. And then it doesn't impact accessibility in any way. So I think we want to do this. I'm going to look at a project we already worked on where we did this because I never remember. Right here. So the figure needs to be overflow hidden, and then the image we are scaling. Transform scale 1, transition the transform. So we'll say overflow hidden. And then we're going to say scale, or transform rather. And 1. And then we'll transition the transform. I generally do 300 milliseconds, ease in out. And then on our figure image, we will focus, hover, oops, active, and we'll transform the scale to, I don't know, 1.1. And I think we will want to, I don't think this will make any difference on our print styles because the scale all relies on an interaction and the interactions don't happen. But we'll double check to make sure that nothing crazy happens here. There, look at that. Just something soft and subtle, right? Just something nice and subtle. And you could link your projects. Presumably, I didn't do it here. Obviously, you could put screenshots in here. You could link those to your actual projects. Yesterday, we were sort of playing with putting a fig caption in. Fig captions have to go inside the figure tag. That wouldn't work in this instance because we're doing overflow hidden. Oh, whoops. And I actually don't even have that here. Maybe that's because grid is helping us. Generally, you have to have overflow hidden. So I'm not even going to put it here because we don't appear to need it. But if you needed overflow hidden, presumably we don't need it here because of grid or the aspect ratio, I'm not sure. But if you had a fig caption inside your figure and you had overflow hidden on the figure, I don't know if you'd be able to see the fig caption. I feel like you wouldn't be able to, but maybe I'm misremembering that. Excellent. Those were like the two things that I wanted to do. Next, let's make sure that we have a hover state for our social icons, and the hover state can just be this pink color. I'm not going to worry about branded hover states because a lot of the branded colors aren't accessible, and that pink color is accessible. So, and then we'll do a couple of quick mobile styles, which I don't think are going to be terribly complex. So here is our social nav, our social item, and then we have to keep in mind that we have that button right here, so we'll make sure that we're styling this appropriately. So we'll do social item, and this is an anchor element, and we're changing the I put this below this. We're changing the stroke and or the fill. So this would be when we'll start with focus. And this would be hover. This would be active. And when we hover, when it's focus, hover, or active, then we want to target the SVG, and we want to change the stroke and or the fill, whichever one it is. Oh, what don't you like? Oh, comma. And we'll just do the pink. And then we want to make sure that we have, I think we can just put the transition here. We're going to find out. I'm just going to do keyword all. 300 milliseconds, ease in, out. I don't know if the transition needs to be on the anchor or if it's okay to just have it on the SVG. Oh, it looks like it's okay. And then let's do the same thing for our button, our print button. So here's our button in lieu of the anchor. And we don't need this span because we have an ARIA label. So how much you want to bet we can just do this? Print button. Probably because we need to also, no, it's the same class. Social item. Oh, print resume. I got the name wrong. Oh, Gosh, I'm just getting everything wrong today. There we go. Beautiful. All right. Yeah, so we definitely need some mobile styles. I think it's okay to keep our grid on mobile, but I think all we really need to do is remove the main grid and put the H2s above the containers. I think that's all we need to do. So if we just change this to display block, I feel like that's all we need to do. And we'll take off the, how easy is that for mobile? And then we just need to change the position to static for mobile. So let's see here. When does this start to get a little too squishy? I think we could do 960. That is a safe value. Media. Max width 960 pixels. And what was that? The grid container? Display block. And I think it was just the secondary headings. Secondary heading, position, static. Remove that sticky. Look at that. We'll tighten up some of this padding. I think we'll tighten up some of that margin too. We have a lot of margin. We could reduce some of the line height on the H3s, but I'm not going to reduce the size. We can reduce the gap here. And we can maybe just let this wrap on mobile, the social icons. Yeah, there's not that much to do. Okay, so we'll change that to 1 rem. And I think we should just change the line height, or add line height rather. So we'll just say line height 1.25. Oh, maybe we want a little extra padding. Yeah, I think that's okay. All right. So here's our header. Padding will be 2 rems on top, 0 on the left and right. And then our primary heading, we will change the line height to 1.25. And line height should be a unitless value. It should be a multiple of your font size. So I think the browser, well, I know the browser will still accept a value, a unit value, but it's really meant to be a unitless value, a multiple. So that looks great. Oh, and Go Elmo Go is here. You are late, but you are here. Hello, all. It's a very quiet group today. It's a very quiet, chill group today. So, and we are all so happy to see you, of course. All right. And I think we could probably adjust this text as well. And yeah, we can, I think we can just, our intro text, I think we could probably take that down to like 1.1. So our intro text, we'll do font size 1.1 rems. There we go. And then we'll take this down. We'll just go down to 1. We don't need 5. I think a lot of times mobile is just kind of tightening things up, right? That is all we're doing. Beautiful. It's still okay to have a little space there. So here are our secondary headings now. So I'm going to take the font size. Oh no, not for the secondary headings. We still want that. I think we can take off. Actually, no, I still like that padding there. But I think we can reduce this margin. Do we need any margin? Let's take the margin off. I think we can take the margin off. I think we just said margin 0. That's it. And let's tighten up that line height as well. We'll go 1.25. Just works really well. Oh, we already have 1.25. Oh, Angela, you're looking at the wrong thing. I'm looking at the H3s. We don't need to do anything to the H2s. And David is here. Happy to be a part of the group. Thanks for the welcome. Looking forward to learning more. Well, welcome. We are so happy to have you. We love to practice. That's what we do here. We just practice. Tertiary heading is next. And I'm not going to adjust any of this additional padding. It all looks great. I'm happy with all of it. I think all I'm going to do for the tertiary heading is tighten up this line height for mobile. There we go. Beautiful. Look at that. And then I think on our grid containers, we'll do the same thing that we did on the intro text container. I'm just going to take that down to 1 margin. One rem of margin on the bottom. And then let's tighten up this gap, which would be our grid images. So we'll just take this gap down to I'm going to do 0.5 rems. Look how tidy that is. It's adorable. It's freaking adorable. Let's move this up. Oh, did I have that in two places? Oops. I did. Okay, hang on. We don't need this twice. Oops. Grid container, and then grid images. It's so cute. I cannot. Okay. And I think that we can just, our email, we can just tighten that up as well. So that is the contact email. Oops. Let's do 1.1. Yeah. Maybe 1.25. Because it's special. It's the email address. Yeah, there we go. All right, now what's happening with this footer? We got a lot of padding. I think we can safely bring this down to 1 rem on mobile. And then what's happening with our social nav? Honestly, if we just do, I bet if we just do flex flow, row wrap, it'll take care of itself. We could also tighten up the gap for mobile. I love it. That's all we need to do. I am going to add right here though, flex flow, row wrap. And then for social nav UI, I'm just going to change the gap. Excuse me, UL. Beautiful. Look at it. You guys, it's so cute. I love it. Let's get this deployed so we can actually look at this on our mobile device. And I think that I also had like a couple of typos. I noticed yesterday afterwards that I had a couple of typos. I think I had 2015, yeah, right here. Not a big deal, but you know, a typo. Okay, I think those look okay. Yeah, maybe that was it. And I don't think we need these extra classes because we are not doing branded hover. So I'm going to take those out. Yeah, let's get this deployed and we'll check mobile. print and mobile styles. And this will take just a moment. In the meantime, I will get my mobile device up and running. All right, let's see. Whoops. Wrong link. All right. And I think that, I think we are deployed. What do we think? I love it. I love it. Responsive, accessible. We have a print media query. What happens when you print on a mobile device? I don't think I've ever even tried to print from a mobile device. Oh, look at that. There it is. There's our print styles. You can print from mobile. No printer selected. I'm not going to print from mobile, but that's how it works. Printer, can you do PDF? Doesn't look like it. Presets, what is that? Oh. Range, print and color, paper size, orientation, scaling, media and quality. It's media type. I've never done this before. Okay, that makes sense. Border, flip. Oh, interesting. All right, well, I'm not going to print. You can't save it as a PDF though, which, is neither here nor there, but yeah, with Wi-Fi printers, it can work. I used to do it a lot. I am on Wi-Fi, I know that, so nice. This looks amazing. This was such a fun little weekend project. I'm glad I decided to do this. I saw this, I've seen this mock-up dozens of times over the years, and I've always thought, oh, that would be really fun. I should do that. And then with having just redone my own personal website, I was like, I really want to build this page as a page on my site. And so this just was a no-brainer. Let's see here. Let me see here. Is there anything, what else do we even need to do? Let's just check. This is Chrome. Let's just check Safari to make sure. Let's just check Safari to make sure. There we go. All right, here's Safari. Oh, that's nice. Safari takes the color and makes it the header. Look at that. What is so the print dialog is not specific to the operating system. It's specific to the device, or it's not specific to the browser. It's specific to the device operating system. So that must mean, okay, that's a good point. I didn't even think of that. Let's look on desktop, just because it's good to be thorough. It's like Go Elmo Go said, was it last weekend? You put something in the chat and you said, we are a QA house here. We QA in our house. It was so cute. Okay, let's check Firefox. Because I'm curious now, is the print dialog browser specific or operating system specific? I have no idea. Oh, it's browser specific. This is very clearly the Firefox, and it's automatically avoiding breaking. It is automatically avoiding breaking. That's interesting. Let's see here. What options do we have? More settings. So the settings are pretty much the same. And it is automatically avoiding breaking those sections. So that reinforces my decision to not include it as print styles. Yeah. Interesting. Format simplified. Oh, look at that. It totally removed, look at how much stuff it removed though. Removed all the images, removed the link, removed my H1, and replaced it with a title, the page title. That's interesting. Print using the system dialog. Okay. All right. I'm not going to do anything, but let's check Safari. I'm not going to adjust anything or make any changes based on this. So here's Safari. Looks exactly the same. So interestingly, Safari is not changing the cursor on links. Links, anchor elements by default, if you have hover active focus, the cursor changes, and we specifically changed the cursor for this printer button, and Safari still isn't doing it. That's very interesting. And this is also a print dialog that is specific to the browser. And my portrait and back landscape are backwards because of some printing that I was doing a couple of weeks ago. I know why it's doing that. And it does let you save as a PDF as a separate option here. All right, fair enough. Now we know how these now we know how things behave. We know how things behave, right? Yes, we are a QA household here always QA people. I love that. You guys, I think this was a smashing success. This was a smashing success. I love it. It goes without saying, this is an open source project. I have everything linked down in the description. If you want to fork this or use it for yourself or your own project, go ahead. I personally am going to be adding this to my own website as a resume page here in the next couple of weeks. I mean, I built it specifically for this reason. And I love it. I just think it's so cool. So I also have this ready to go as a standalone project. So I edited yesterday's stream last night. I'm going to edit this stream this afternoon, and I'm going to release this first thing Tuesday morning as a so when I edit the streams, I just edit out like my things like this where I'm just talking and not working. They're very focused. I edit out almost all of my conversations with the chat unless it's something very specific to the build. So it's a very streamlined, focused project build. That was the word I was looking for, focused. So this will be released Tuesday morning as a focused project build. I have the thumbnail and the description ready to go. The editing took me a long time yesterday because things were a little crazy in the beginning, but it got better. And I think today was great. Today, I feel like I had long time blocks of focused work. And this is going to be a really fun project. So with that being said, I can't believe everything that we got done today and the amount of time that we got it done. So I feel pretty comfortable wrapping things up. I hope everybody has a great week. I said I was going to show you what our next project is. We can look. Let's do that. We got time. And if you don't want to look, you don't have to look. But we got time. Let me pull up these Photoshop mockups. And this is the same pack that we've been working from, because this Hilltop mockup came with all of these mockups. It came with 55 mockups. So we have lots of choices here. Oops. That's not what I wanted to do. Okay, here we go. This is what we just did. This is a blog layout, which we've already done. I don't want to do another blog layout. We could do this. You barking at Heidi? This is like a blog inner page. We already just did this as well, so I don't want to do this again. There were a couple other landing pages here, though, that I was thinking about. This is what we just did in July. Oh, maybe it wasn't in here. Maybe it wasn't in Hilltop. Where was it here? No, I don't think it was this. Maybe it was, I think it was this. I was leaning towards doing something like this. Let's open this up. So this has a slider with dot navigation. We have kind of this side-by-side overlap layout. This is like products, add to cart. This would be like a hover. I like this. I don't know if I can get this done in 4 weeks though is the problem. Also, does this footer look familiar? This is exactly where I got my footer from. This footer is this footer. So I would, if you haven't already, or if you're looking for inspiration or ways to get ideas of things that you can build, I can't recommend enough spending a few dollars, 10, 15 bucks, and you can go buy a pack of Photoshop mockups like this and just practice building your layouts. My personal favorite is mockups that are mostly gray boxes. So I can implement the branding. I can implement the photos and the color scheme. This is my favorite type of mockup, but certainly you can buy full-featured color built-out mockups. You can buy those too. This was my preference. So I don't know if I'm going to do this one or not. I haven't decided yet. I have to make sure that it's something that I can do in 4 weekends. We could do this. We could do a shopping cart page. We could do a category page. And here's a category list. I'll tell you what I like about doing a category grid. Actually, yeah. What I like about this is that we could turn this sidebar into a filter. So I don't think that that's what this design is, but we could do that. We could like make little checkboxes, and we could do like an API. So I could build an API ahead of time, just like a JSON file. We could pull that in with JavaScript, and then we could use JavaScript to do some filtering. Yeah. That would be fun, actually. That would be fun. And I do like this layout. So, yeah, I think I'm thinking about it. I'm going to spend a couple of days thinking about it. But for the people who are still here watching, what do you think? Do you want to just do like basic HTML CSS landing pages? Because I feel like we've been doing that a lot. And I need to start getting a lot more comfortable with my vanilla JavaScript. So I want to maybe lean towards some projects that force me to get a little more, get my hands a little dirtier with vanilla JavaScript. So you let me know. What say you? And if you don't care and you just want to come and chill and hang out and watch somebody else write some code, that's completely fine too. That is completely fine too. I already started the repo. Can't wait. Good stream today. Thank you. Monique, a great week ahead. I totally agree. What about integrating some JavaScript in it? Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm thinking. I think we should have a little more, I just want to do something with a little more JavaScript functionality. And I personally love filtering things. And I would like to just make a little like JSON pseudo API, and we can pull in some content dynamically and then use that to build a filter. So I think that would just sound really fun. So I think that's what we should do. All right. I think that's it. Hang on. That was a mistake. And then, of course, next weekend, you all could show up and I could completely change my mind as well. So maybe I'll post something on the community tab this week, Monday or Tuesday. And if people want to vote or have an opinion, they can let me know then. So I hope everybody has a great week. Thank you to Monique Robinson and Go Elmo Go. They are our moderators, although the last few weeks, we've had a very chill chat, and I'm grateful for that. Always a good stream when we can have fun struggling with Angela with JavaScript. Guess it will be very helpful on that. I will highly appreciate on that. Yes. So I think we should do the filter. I really want to do the filter. So that's what I think we're going to do. So everybody have a great week. Appreciate you all. Yeah, I guess that's it. Have a great one wherever you are. And I will see you next week on Saturday morning. Bye-bye.